Welcome back, retro film lovers, to another chillingly nostalgic episode of Retro Life for You, the podcast where we dive fang first into the films that made the 80s and 90s absolutely unforgettable. I'm your host, Chris Adams, and with us, as always, Travis Rollins.
Are
And
you ready to say goodbye to the light?
goodbye to the light, because today we're sinking our teeth into one of the most haunting yet elegantly crafted vampire tales ever put to the screen. Interview with a Vampire. So yeah, it's
Interview.
released 1994, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yes, 1994. I believe this is
But
a
Anne
work
wrote
of
the book way
right. and
before that.
and now when did Anne Rice write that book? Was that like in the was that like way back?
Mid late 70s.
Yes. Oh, here we go. 76. Based on the best-selling 1976 novel by Anne Rice, Interview with a Vampire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Emotionally complex horror drama that chronicles 2 centuries of immortality, loneliness, and moral struggle through the eyes of the vampire Lewis.
Or Louis.
I'm sorry, Louis. You're right. I watched this yesterday. I rewatched it yesterday, and that's the first time I had watched it all the way through ever. I've never
Yeah.
watched it all the way through.
Okay.
I've seen bits and pieces over the years, but never completely. And so I knew it was Louis. I don't know why I said Lewis. It's spelled
I've
like Lewis.
seen it. Uh, I've seen it, Lord, 6 or 8 times probably over the years since it came out. Not that it's one of my absolute favorite vampire movies, but 44 years old, once a decade. So maybe about 4 times,
I
twice a
mean,
decade.
it's when I want to watch a vampire movie, it's not to get the dramatic view of some. I don't know how old he was. I can't remember.
Louis
Uh,
was 200
200s was some 200-year-old
during the
vampire.
during the interview. He lived longer than that, but he was 200 during this setting because this. So the story, and some people may not know this. There's a reshoot going on right now of this as a series, so they're putting a lot more detail from the books into the series that's on right now currently. And I can't remember what it's on FX. I don't remember what it's on. It might be one of the streaming channels that's doing it. I don't just can't
I don't.
recall.
Peacock seems to be getting everything lately.
Right, but it goes. The tale goes much further, and the book series, even though this is through the eyes of Louis, the entire book series is. So it centers around Lestat. Lestat is the main character throughout the entire series. So Louis lives a fair bit longer than what's in here.
Yeah, yeah, and at one point, there's no Lestat in the movie for a little while. Um,
Yeah, and it's like that in the book too. So the book kind of introduces you to Lestat. This one is more about Louis, but then it introduces you to Lestat. And the next one in the book series is the movie, where they skipped it. Well, it's funny because they did Queen of the Damned, right? The movie with Aaliyah
Hold on.
and I think Robert
Wait,
Townsend.
Travis. Hey,
Mhm.
do me a favor and repeat that last bit. You cut out like you froze up, then cut out.
Oh, okay. Uh, what I was saying was that uh, so in the book series, the first three novels are Interview with the Vampire, and then The Vampire Lestat, and then Queen of the Damned. So they made another movie after they made this one that we're speaking about right now, and they made Queen of the Damned with Aaliyah, and I think
Yeah.
Robert Townsend played Lestat. Well, half of that movie was the Vampire Lestat, and half of it was Queen of the Damned. They kind of like melded the two novels and did a terrible job with it, even though I loved Aaliyah. But yeah, Louis lives far into the Queen of the Damned novel.
All right. And when you said that, I was like, wait a second, that was a movie as well.
Hmm.
I never was a fan of Anne. I didn't read Anne Rice books at all, but I wasn't into that kind of book either at the time. I was always more into Stephen King and the crazy stuff that he put out.
Hmm.
So,
But
um,
there's a lot of throughout her series too, and I haven't made it to the Mayfair Witches. The Mayfair Witches entangle into this too. My mother, I actually got my mom reading all these books, and she's like halfway through the Mayfair Witches. She caught up with me and surpassed me. I think I was on Memnock the Devil, and she passed me up on that. She's like she binge read them all in like a month or two. It's crazy. But throughout her novels, a lot of it deals with um, the plight of the vampire, like it kind of like we just said, the loneliness of immortality and the moral struggle, and things like that. That's a recurring theme through everything.
well, it says the movie itself is set against backdrops ranging from 18th century New Orleans, which I guess is where he first meets Lestat,
Hmm.
to modern day San Francisco, where they're having the interview. Um, so the movie itself is not like your typical vampire movie, like just killing, bloodlust, or whatever. It's kind of like it says about guilt, love, and what it means to be human or not to be human. There seems to be always a lot of guilt in Louis' character throughout
Hmm.
the entire movie. Parts
Yeah,
where you think that he has regrets or something, or wishes he could be done with and out of this life or something.
yeah. It's
And
like seems like too. So like in the beginning of the movie where he's doing his narrative about losing his, he was a plantation owner in southern Louisiana in his early 20s, and he had already lost his wife and child. So he was saying that he wanted to lose everything, his fortune and his land, and even his life, and he was daring people to do it. So it seems like too that I don't they didn't revisit it heavily, but it seemed like, or they didn't she didn't touch on it to where since he died with that pain, he never reconciled that. So when he came back as the vampire, he carried that on, even though his attention may be on other things. That piece of him was still fresh. And they do talk about how when you're a vampire, you feel things stronger, and you know what I mean. Like you go through more than you do as a regular human.
right. Hey, do me a favor.
Hmm.
Check your microphone and see, is it close up against your face or anything like that? Or
Where does it need to be?
no, it just sounds like something's brushing up against it when you talk.
Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Let me point this away. Is that
It
better?
doesn't look like it's doing anything. Do what?
Does that sound better when I'm doing when I'm talking like that?
Oh yeah. Whatever it was is
Ooh,
not there now.
okay.
Did you
It's
have
the
a little
it was
fan going?
it's a little fan.
I knew it. Okay, that's what it
Heck
was.
yeah,
Fun times recording.
fun times. We'll edit that.
We'll do a small edit. We'll leave it in the video. We'll edit the audio. Um, that way the people who watch the YouTube get lots of good
Bonus
extras,
content.
bonus
They get
content. And
the
what's better? What's better than a little
yeah,
when you talk? I mean, nothing, nothing
yeah.
at all.
I love podcasts with crappy audio. Those are my
Oh,
favorite to listen to.
oh my God! I don't know if I'll be able to. I don't know if I'll be able to fix the first part of it. We'll see. It'll be
Yeah,
fine though. It'll be fine. Let's kind of talk about some of the people in the movie. Um, this had a pretty good cast in it, and it had uh, at least one person nominated for a Golden Globe in it, and I think that might have been her first movie too.
it was definitely her first movie, and
So
everybody was in love with her.
let's just talk about her first. All right. So we got
Let's do it.
Kirsten Dunst. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I completely forgotten Kirsten Dunst was the little girl in the movie. My first thing I remember her from, for whatever reason, is the Spider-Man movie she was in. I know she was in a
Really?
couple of, yes, I know she was in several things before that. I just
Wow.
don't, I just like, I think there are things I didn't watch.
Yeah. So that and people who watch this movie will always remember her when Louis turned her or Lestat turned her, whoever turned her, I forget. Uh,
Hmm.
and then her old raggedy hair like turned into the beautiful Goldilocks curls, and then she sat up and went, "I want some more." So everybody remembers her for "I want some more,"
I want some more. So she got tired of them Goldilocks and tried to cut them all off,
and they grew right
just to
back.
find out they grew right back in place. She was
That's why they
livid.
don't turn them that young.
Yeah, no, that was a point of discussion. We're going to get to that here in a few minutes, actually.
Hmm.
Um, well, Kirsten Dunst. Let's go. So we'll go ahead and some of the other things that she has done. Like I said, I remember her being in. Of course, I said Spider Man.
Hmm.
She had a little bit of a few appearances in Star Trek, or maybe an appearance in Star Trek: The Next Generation. Bonfire, The Vanities. Uh, what's
Yeah, I
the
think that was the ones that she did before. So this was her first movie role. I think those were the ones that she did before she did the movie, like to get a little notoriety
Yeah,
to begin
and
with.
then after that, she started taking off. You know, she was in what's the cheerleading movie called?
Oh, it wasn't Bring It
Bring It
On, was
On, Bring It On.
yeah. She was
Yeah,
in also with Vision with Paul Bettany. She was in Wimbledon, which was an awesome movie. I loved
that was
Wimbledon.
a good movie, actually.
That
Yes,
was a really good movie. And
yes,
then what was the one she did? It was like a political thing halfway. Dick.
yep.
She did that one. She did a lot. She did quite a few
Eternal
movies though.
Sunshine of the Spotless Mind with Jim Carrey.
One that movie's one of my favorites too. You gotta be a weirdo to love it.
Yeah,
It's
it doesn't
it's a
really fit me,
strange
I'm
movie.
afraid.
It's a strange movie.
Um, so in the '80s, well, actually, I guess it would be the '80s. You know what? Ah, God, I can't believe I forgot this one too. So I did know her from something before Spider Man. Okay,
It wasn't Jumanji, was it?
it is Jumanji. I cannot believe I did not remember she was in Jumanji. That's she was in Little Women and then Jumanji after Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah, she played one of the younger girls on there. I don't remember the name.
Oh, what
She's
Jumanji?
in no in the Little Women.
Oh, she was. It says she was a younger Amy March.
She's also in a movie that I think everyone should watch if they want to understand our government a little better. It's called Wag the Dog. It's about how the tail wags the dog, about spin doctors and smoke screen mirrors and what they do in order to keep us preoccupied, which is what I suspect that two of the most richest men on the planet are doing to each other right now.
What you mean the bromance is not over?
Yeah, no, I don't think it is.
Oh
Dude,
my
you got
gosh.
two of the most intelligent, richest men on the planet. They know what this is doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
This is look at my right hand. It, probably because the new Boeing F-47 or whatever is going to be a ridiculous failure.
you never know. It's always something when it comes to politics. That's the reason why
Yeah,
people don't talk about it, isn't it? Because
that's
you
very
never know.
true.
You really can't just get anything solid on it. Then everybody's got their own opinion of it, and the next thing you know, it's a gigantic
Yup.
argument with
Hey, wasn't she in one of
people.
the? She was in one of the Crow movies too. Not the City of Angels, but the other one.
It's what the first one.
Mm-mm.
I think it was her. I don't remember. You know what?
Crow
I
Salvation.
Crow Salvation. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Who played the crow in that one?
Or you can't
Was that
read
Mark
forever.
Dacascos in that?
Eric,
Or
Mabus.
all right, Dacascos was the TV show version, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so to the two main people here, Lestat and Louis. Lestat was played by Tom Cruise. We all know about Tom Cruise, Top Gun, Rain Man, Few
Everybody
Good
knows
Men.
Tom.
You know, even his little small roles like in The Outsiders. You got Risky
Yeah.
Business. You got all what is it?
What's your
All the
favorite
right
Tom
moves.
Cruise? What's your favorite Tom Cruise role that's not Maverick?
Few Good Men.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, he played a well, I had a friend of mine that said that movie was made completely by Jack Nicholson's performance. I beg to differ. Uh,
And
you could
yeah,
Jack
you had
Nicholson was great in his role. Don't get me wrong, he was great. But Tom
yeah,
Cruise, he's
yeah. I felt like you kind of had to have him. Like
yeah, I mean,
they
he
the way
carried
they played
this
off each other, man.
yeah, and he carried this movie as his character along with Kevin Bacon and Demi Moore and uh
Hmm.
dude of many voices. I can't remember his name. Um the other one.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think a few good men for me. What about you?
Oh, mine's gonna have to. Oh man, I wish I hadn't laughed. I just ruined it. I was gonna say mine was gonna be Les Grossman from damn Tropic Thunder, but it really is not. No, seriously, my absolute favorite Tom Cruise movie or role would be Joseph Donnelly in Far and Away, the one him and Nicole Kidman did about them coming over from Ireland and stuff.
hmm
And then Cole Trickle's pretty strong part too. Days of Thunder was pretty good.
Days of Thunder. It's been a long time since I've seen Days of Thunder. Um, might do that one soon coming up. Brad Pitt did played the part of Louis. So Legends of the Fall,
Brad.
Seven, Fight
Yep.
Club, Ocean's
Hmm.
11.
A
I
river
mean,
runs through it.
man, it was in a lot of
12
stuff.
Monkeys.
A lot
Mr.
of
and
great
Miss
movies.
Smith. Daggum. Yeah, he's another one of them too, though, that like even though he was a heartthrob back in the day, like he didn't make a bad movie, man. Not that I saw.
Do you know one of my favorite appearances of him is outside of a movie?
Hmm.
His
What's
guest
that?
spot on his guest spot on Friends
Oh yeah,
when he came on Friends for a Thanksgiving episode. Yeah,
yeah.
the I Hate
Yeah.
Rachel Green fan club.
The I Hate Rachel Green fan club. That's pretty good.
If you're a Friends fan, you know what I'm talking about. You've seen it. You've laughed about it. His whole thing at the dinner table at Thanksgiving was crazy. Uh,
Have you seen the list of movies that he was producer on?
ooh, Brad Pitt, no.
Brad Pitt has done an impressive. He's got an impressive resume as a producer,
What
like
are some of the movies?
executive producers and producers. So he started it seems it looks like around in 2006. He was a producer on The Departed, which is one of the best
Oh,
movies I've ever seen, especially like mob movies.
that is such a
Uh,
crazy turnaround. Every 15 minutes, it
oh
seemed
my
like.
God, right? It kept on and on, twisting and turning. He was executive producer on Time Traveler's Wife, which a lot of people loved. He did Kick Ass, Eat, Pray, Love, Moneyball, Killing Them Softly, Big Men, World War Z, Kick Ass 2, 12 Years a Slave, he was a producer on. Fury, Selma, hit By the Sea, Moonlight, Lost City of Z. Just, I mean, it keeps on going. Like, there's quite a list of movies. He's like done. He's been a producer on let's see, in 2022 he did one, two, three, four. He did 8 episodes of Paper Girls, Father of the Bride, Blonde. She said so. It's like 8 things that he did just in 2022. So I mean, he's been producing since 2006, like a minimum of 2 things a year.
Wow. So his hand in a lot of good things, whether it be acting or producing, either one. And
Yeah, I had no idea that he did any of that.
I did not either. I'll tell you something funny
Pretty
about
cool.
Brad Pitt, though, when it comes to me.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know why, but I always got him and Val Kilmer mixed up for movies
Really?
back in the day, anyway.
Huh?
Because I don't know if it's their similar appearance or the fact that they were both kind of big name people in movies at the time, and it's the same
Mhm.
thing with me when it comes to Dermot Mulroney and Dylan McDermott.
Yeah, I can see them
McDermott,
too, for sure.
Dermot. I mean, little things like that throw me off, I guess, and I used to get them both confused.
I tell you, the one that used to get me was Jeffrey Rush and Ed Wood.
Jeffrey Rush and Ed Wood.
Yeah, back when Jeffrey Rush was younger, a little bit younger, and then Ed Wood, would they reminded me of one another. I'd get them two mixed up.
Um, Kirsten Dunst, which we brought up a while ago. We mentioned a Golden Globe nomination. She was just 11 years old at the time, and this was her breakout role. I know I was reading something earlier that a lot of people question having a kid that age in a movie like that, and she said that she really didn't even comprehend a lot of the adult like themes that were going on.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
So I mean, she was just, I guess, doing her part best she could, in acting, which was great. I mean, a
Hmm.
friend of mine said he remembers seeing her in that role in that movie, and said he told the person he was at the movies with at the time that kid's going to be a star. You watch,
Oh
and
yeah,
sure.
everybody knew. Everybody knew when they saw her. They were like, "Oh yeah, she's
Speaking
about to
of
blow up."
stars, star material, Mr. Antonio Banderas played Armand,
Antonio Banderas.
was already a major star in Spain at the time, but he
Hmm.
begun breaking into his Hollywood roles here with things like Philadelphia, the Mambo Kings. Was his first movie that took notice of him here? Wasn't it the
I would say Desperados, man.
Desperado? Yeah, the one with you got the guitar case
Yeah,
or whatever it was. Yeah, that one.
I would say that's the one where they started. Yeah, where people really started paying him attention.
Also played in one of the Zorro movies. Um,
He was Zorro. Yes.
One of my favorites of him though was with him and Stallone. Uh,
Uh, uh,
they
I
were
know that
hitmen, I believe.
Assassins. I think that's called. It was right after
Assassins.
Desperado.
Yeah, assassins. There you go.
Yes. Yeah,
That was a good one for
Desperado,
sure.
because that had him and Selma Hayek in a wonderful scene that I usually complain about in movies. I liked him in the 13th Warrior too. If you hadn't seen 13th Warrior, it's super awesome.
I
Play
don't
it to
think
the
I've ever
bone.
watched it. I don't think I
Oh,
have.
it's good. He's a Muslim and he ends up with a bunch of Vikings, man. And he's like spending so much time with them and praying and stuff that like he ends up understanding their language. So like when he comes in, it's like he's speaking in English or Spanish, but he's Muslim. And then they're sitting around a campfire one night, and the Vikings are talking, and then all of a sudden like English starts rolling through, like coming through. He starts understanding them. So then they do like the rest of the movie in English, and it's just a given that he's speaking their language or whatever.
Right.
But it's a pretty sick movie. I really like it a lot, especially if you like those old medieval times type stuff.
Some movies like that I do, yes. Some I
Yeah.
do and some I don't. It just depends, I guess, on the
Right.
story that's being portrayed. Next in line is the character Daniel Malloy, which was played by Christian Slater. However, he is a basically he was given the role because the original person passed away. The original person for the role was River Phoenix. Um,
Oh.
and for anybody who is fan of the '80s movies, you pretty much know who River Phoenix is.
Hmm.
And his weird brother
Joaquin.
Joaquin Phoenix.
I knew from the
Um,
get go. The first time I ever seen him was in Gladiator. First time I remember seeing him, he played the prince,
yep.
and I was like, I don't like this dude.
What's the strangest role you ever seen him play? Joaquin
That
Phoenix.
one
I
was
mean,
it was like a documentary almost himself or myself or whatever when he had the big beard smoking all the
yeah,
cigarettes.
yeah.
Yeah, that one for
He
sure.
definitely weird.
The most
Um,
track. It makes me mad too because he is such a phenomenal actor. Like Joaquin he's incredible. But I originally didn't like the Joker, and then Folie Deux was. I'm glad everybody saw what trash that was. It got horrible reviews. It's like, dude, don't do that again, or at least don't call it the Joker. You know what I mean? Like,
I didn't even watch that movie, man. I couldn't bring
dude,
myself to do it.
his portrayal of mental health, the mental health thing, or the mental affliction that he had, whatever, was just absolutely glorious. But the way they tried to tie it into being the Joker was trash.
That's one. I mean, I just couldn't get into it based on stuff like that.
Mhm.
If it's a movie about the Joker, I want it to be about the Joker, not.
Yeah.
Yeah. The mental health
And the whole
aspect
thing
of what
about
he
the
has.
Joker is we're not supposed to know his background. The closest I ever came to liking a background story for the Joker, and I loved the kid that played the character like it's so good, was in Gotham.
Gotham.
Jerome Jerome was awesome.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Christian Slater. What's your favorite movie from Christian Slater? He's been known for quite a few things.
Ooh, I had to. Oh wait, I was gonna say I'm getting Christian Slater mixed up with my man who's made a resurgence here, Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke's made a little bit of a resurgence lately.
And you're getting them
Uh,
confused because they both had something to do with skateboard movies back in the day.
I think you're probably right. Let's see, Ethan Hawke. I mean, no, wait, Christian
Christian
Slater.
Slater. Hello. Hey, Travis. Travis. Hey, over here. Over here,
Wake
buddy.
up over here.
Over here,
Yeah,
buddy. Come here.
over here.
Hey, over
This
here.
way.
Yeah, this way.
That's hilarious. Man, I guess I'm also gonna have to go with Arkansas Dave Rudabaugh.
Man, it's a tie for me. Arkansas Dave and his character in Gleaming the Cube.
Good, yeah,
I
Glenn.
like Gleaming the Cube.
That was pretty
Maybe
good.
not the character itself, but the movie Gleaming the Cube.
That
Um,
and I like the Wizard. Oh, I don't know though, man. He was good as Will Scarlet in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
oh yeah. Well,
He played Will
this just
Scarlet.
goes to show you how talented he is in because we're having trouble picking some movies. Hard Rain. Was it Hard Rain he was in?
Oh, dude, that movie was so good. I forgot all about that one.
Yeah.
What about Broken Arrow? What about Broken Arrow?
Broken Arrow. There's another one. You
Yeah,
know what? We're just gonna say we like all of them.
yeah, yeah,
That sounds
yeah.
easier.
I have a hard time picking one with him. I think because that 3,000 Miles to Graceland too, where everybody dressed up as Elvis to rob the daggone. That was a good one.
You know what? I can honestly say I didn't watch. I have not seen that one.
Oh, it's hilarious.
I
He
can
was in
say
that
that.
great movie. He was in Wind Talkers too. That was a great movie.
He was,
I'm
wasn't he?
almost, yeah. I'm gonna have to, dude. I think I'm gonna have to go with. Dang, I think I might have to go. I might have to change it up. Arkansas Dave. I think I think he was such a side character in it. It was so star studded, and he was kind of Arkansas Dave was definitely a big part of the movie. I think I'm going to have to go with Broken Arrow. I think I'm going to say that's my favorite one that he was in.
Broken Arrow. Well, it's not a bad movie, so you can't go wrong there for sure.
But I'll tell you what, jumping back to Antonio, if y'all hadn't seen Doolittle, go watch Doolittle because King Rasuli. Uh, I need, I need Antonio Banderas in a damn Pirates of the Caribbean movie. I need this man to play a cop pirate one more time.
I
Didn't they say they're rebooting that too?
oh, who knows?
Oh, one can
Who
only hope
knows?
that they put Antonio in it.
Can he play a pirate as the
What?
character? Yeah, hey, can he play a pirate as the character of Puss in Boots?
Oh, I am Puss in
In
boots.
Boots.
In boots. That's pretty great.
Oh my god. This movie was directed by Neil Jordan. That name does not stand out to me. He's done quite a bit of work, but it just
Yeah.
doesn't his name just does not stand out as something of a director of movies that I would watch. And I'm looking at some of his things he'd done, The Crying
Anytime
Game.
I hear Neil, I think of Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, well, it's not Neil Patrick Harris, but on top of Interview with the Vampire, he did The Crying Game, he did The Miracle,
Oh
uh,
no, not the Crying Game. Oh,
We're No Angels,
don't watch that.
The Good Thief. Yeah.
Ain't
The
that the
Good
one? That is the one that's got Ghost Dog in it, ain't it? Where he was dating a transvestite or something.
all I remember
Pretty
is
sure
the
that's the
woman.
one.
All I remember is the woman on the cover. The woman with black hair.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Yeah,
remember the cover of
it's
the
yeah, it's got
thing.
Forest Whitaker in it. It's it. That's it.
Forrest
That's the
Whitaker
one I
is in it.
remember.
Miranda Richardson's in it. Stephen Ray, Jay
Mm,
Davidson, Joe
Mm.
Savino.
Oh, he did the screenplay for the Company of Wolves. That's pretty cool. That's a old horror movie from 1984 that I enjoyed. I like me a
Um,
good horror movie.
you like you a good horror movie?
Yeah, I just watched Sinners, and I'm gonna tell you what, that's one of my favorites now.
Yeah, I have to get with you on that later. I saw what what you posted about that.
It's so
Um,
good.
written by Anne Rice, she adapted her own novel with some studio driven changes. So she had basically, I guess, she wrote the book, then she come back and wrote what the screenplay for this,
So,
the
yes,
script and everything.
like that. Yeah, or at least storyboarded it.
The film itself had a budget of approximately $60 million, but it grossed over 223 million worldwide. It was a big win for gothic horror. It was the 11th highest grossing film of 1994, which helped reignite interest in the mature horror cinema.
Mhm.
Mature horror cinema. What they mean is vampire
Mature.
movies that show boobies or something.
Mhm. Mature. I have
Mature.
mature themes, storylines. I
Yeah.
would call this mature. It was like borderline. Man, this movie's complex. Honestly, like all the stuff that's going on in it. Really,
Well,
because you got
see,
Louis not wanting to kill. He's like, there's got to be another way. And remember, he's like
right.
eating sewer
He's
rats.
living off rats and animals and stuff like that. And but the thing is, when it comes to vampire movies, people want to see action. They want to see that blood and gore, scary stuff. I mean, what we got in this was just like
Well,
to
that
me at
223
times,
million worldwide gross might disagree with you.
dude, they went and saw it because it's Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
That's the first reason why most people probably went and saw it thinking that it was gonna
for
be a good
sure,
vampire movie.
for sure,
Instead
100%.
instead, they get a sob story from one of them about his life of not wanting to kill and not wanting to be a vampire and, living off of rats and all this other stuff. I mean, it just
Yeah.
seemed like to me, I'm not gonna lie, I had a hard
Do you
time
feel
keeping my
like?
attention.
Do you feel like that? So okay, so I'll be 100% honest. Back in the day, I loved this movie. Like in the night, I was 14 when it came out, but back in the day, I dug it a lot. Probably all the way up into my early 30s. Probably hadn't seen it in that long, honestly. I probably hadn't seen. I've
I
seen it five
mean,
or six times for sure, but I
but
probably hadn't watched it in 10 years. But
there's some
rewatching it this
people
time, it was kind of boring.
there are some people though who really get into that kind of movie. They want the detail oriented. They want something that is a long, drawn out story that's just a good, well told story or something, right? And then
Well,
you got
I
people like me
yeah,
who just want to get entertained with a little action or a little comedy, goofiness or
I was
something.
just gonna say it depends on what it is, man, and how it's written and what they're doing. So, like, I think for me, this time watching this is I know it by heart. I've seen it so much. I watched half of it and cut it off because I'm like, I know this movie inside and out. So, but like you take a movie like Fences with it's just all dialogue between Denzel Washington and his son and his wife.
Mhm.
Phenomenal movie, I thought. My wife couldn't sit through it. She's like, I cannot watch this shit.
It's hard
It's
to,
just
man.
it's just all talking in the backyard, and like but I loved it. But
Look,
now
I
you
can
take
get into a
another
good
movie
drama.
like that, yeah,
I can get into a good drama. Okay. We just had February pass by where we did all Valentine type movies, right? Love stories or something. I can get into a drama type love story, some like with the Sleepless in Seattle that we did.
yeah,
I could get into those, but this type of movie, I just there really wasn't much of anything that was to be considered action. It's listed as a horror
no,
drama. I mean, I gotta at least have something. What look, when I think of vampire movies, um, with action, like 30 Days of Night. That
mhm.
was a good one.
I think that
John
horror
Carpenter's Vampires.
that's one of my favorites of all time.
I mean,
John Carpenter's Vampires. When it comes to vampire movies, John Carpenter's Vampires is top tier.
I often compare Bram Stoker's Dracula to Interview with a Vampire. I mean, and it's not the
Yeah, but I
same
feel like Bram
concept.
Stoker's was even better.
It's not the same concept, but I like it better though.
I would say that Interview if you were to watch Interview in this day and age, I would say that it is little little to just a little more than marginally better than Twilight series.
I mean, I mean, at least Twilight had some action to it, though.
True, but
It,
I
it,
wasn't interested in their characters. They were too teen angst for me. Where this
yeah,
was grown up, this was grown up, and the philosophy that this dives into, I guess, is what appeals to me. And
I
then you
can
had the
see
funny
that too.
moments, like when they went in there where everybody had the plague, and like, and and Lestat picked up the dead lady and started dancing with her. Oh, there's some life left in these bones yet. Like it had its moments.
It had a couple of moments in it. I mean, I will say that. Um,
I would say that it's good enough though that I would say that it's one of those movies to where there's so I would think in this day and age at least, and we're proving it right here between the two of us. Usually we are in sync on movies, and we're pretty much saying the same thing here. But I think I'm taking up for it a little bit more. But I think it's one that if you decide to maybe give it a try, it's going to be a thing to where we can't guarantee you're going to love or hate it. It's
right.
like you're either going to like it or you're going to think it wasn't that good.
True.
Yeah.
True. Christian Slater is to throw a couple of did you knows in there. Did you know that Christian Slater was after being given the role of Daniel Malloy upon the death of River Phoenix, he donated his $250,000 salary to two of Phoenix's favorite charities. So he basically did this movie for free, and
That's pretty cool.
now we know what he got paid. He got paid
Yeah.
$250,000.
What was his
Um,
screen time? 15 minutes? That's
it wasn't
a pretty good
much.
pay that's a pretty
I
good paycheck.
Yeah, it's a pretty darn good payday for what he had to do in it, really. So not much at all. We talked about this earlier. Upon learning that Tom Cruise had been cast as Lestat, Rice was livid and stated Cruise could not carry the part, calling the casting so bizarre. It's almost impossible to imagine how it's going to work, and the worst crime in the name of casting since the bonfire of the vanities. Rice recused herself from the production and did not view the film until a producer sent her a VHS copy. Rice was so impressed by Cruise's performance that she wrote him a letter of apology and recorded a 2-minute video endorsing the film that was included as a pre-feature on mid 90s VHS releases.
Yeah.
Did you see that on a VHS? Did you see what I just mentioned?
I think I have. That may have been what I was talking about, how she, because remember we were talking before we came on air, and I was like, yeah, she hated him and then she loved him. Said this, he was what I envisioned perfectly after being so mad about it.
And then when it comes to Anne Rice, she was so pleased with this adaptation that she took out a 2-page ad in both Vanity Fair and the New York Times endorsing it as a masterpiece.
It's a good book to movie. Like they did do really good with it. There's not a there's things that they left out, but not enough to where it changes the overall dynamic or the plot or anything.
Hmm. In an EW interview in September 2011, Brad Pitt revealed that he had a miserable experience while making the film.
Hmm.
Recalled the discomfort of the makeup, the colored contacts, and particularly filming in an enclosed, dark indoor area. He said at one point he called his friend and producer David Geffen and begged for a way out. Learning that it would cost 40 million, he toughed it out for the remaining months.
Huh.
Lord. David Geffen, why does that name sound familiar?
That does sound familiar. It ain't David because I'm David Ruffin. Got
No, no,
David
no.
Ruffin. I got sunshine.
I don't believe that's why it sounds familiar to me.
I'm David Ruffin.
Well, he's been a producer in several things that we've seen: Little Shop of Horrors, Beetlejuice. I mean,
Well,
he's.
let me turn off this gas.
Oh my God! Do that again. You've got it good.
That's Steve Martin when he's like,
Yeah,
"Oh, hang on, let me turn off this gas."
we just need to put a banjo in your hands now and see how you do for there. Kirsten Dunst was not allowed. Imagine this: Kirsten Dunst, 11 years old, was not allowed to watch the film when it released because her parents thought it was too scary for her. She was 12 years old at the time, not 11. I would think there are several reasons why you wouldn't let your 12-year-old go watch this movie. Not
Yeah, I mean,
just
it
that it was
implied that she
scary.
was having sex with a grown woman.
Right. I mean, on top of that, there's a grown woman stripped down on stage in front of him that she's supposedly watching with the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then of course the horror part of it all, the scariness and everything. Um, the film surpassed Dracula 1992 as the highest grossing vampire film. It in itself held the record for a decade until it was surpassed by Van Helsing in 2004.
Oh, Van Helsing was
This
a good
now
one.
check this out. This film remained the highest grossing R-rated vampire film for more than 30 years until
Dust to Dawn,
Sinners.
Sinners. Oh wow,
You just mentioned that earlier.
dude, it's in my top five vampire movies. Period. Like I love that movie. That movie is so good. And I was able to get Tasha to watch it without watching the doggone trailer for it. And if you
Mhm.
don't know what it is, it's the oh my god, everything just happens so abruptly while you're watching it. It's watching like some kind of historical drama slash gang movie, or not really a gang movie, but like a gangster movie. And
Yeah.
then it turns, dude, it's so good. It is so good.
Uh, just a little fun fact. Not a did you know, but a fun fact. Kirsten Dunst. She says that Tom Cruise always sends her a coconut cake with white chocolate chips every Christmas. She refers to it as the
God,
cruise.
that sounds delicious.
She refers to it as the cruise cake, which she is always excited to receive, admitting that the cake never lasts a full day.
I bet. I'd tear one of them up. That sounds wonderful.
I had read somewhere that Tom Cruise stayed in character the whole time when filming. He said it weirded out a lot of people on the set.
I can see that. Tom Cruise is a weird feller.
A very weird fellow, actually. Yeah, very
And it
very
had to be
much.
so much fun to play Lestat, especially knowing him like I know him and from the novels, and then knowing full well that Tom Cruise probably read at least the first two novels before he did it. Like
Yeah.
Lestat had to be a fun character to play.
There's some names. Speaking of Lestat, some names of people out there that were wanted or maybe originally given the role or something. But
Oh, let's hear it.
Anne Rice met with Tom Hanks to take the part of Lestat after seeing his performance in Philadelphia. But
Ew.
Hanks turned down the part in order to star in some other goofy movie like Forrest Gump. I mean, who
Oh, good
who
choice,
would have
Tom.
who would have done that? I mean, Forrest Gump.
Right. Well, he didn't know at the time that Forrest was going to be as big as Forrest was,
I think that he knew because his mama told him that life was like a box of chocolates.
which means you never know.
Never know. Daniel Day Lewis was originally given the part of Lestat.
I
He
could
could
see
have.
that.
I could see that one. I can't see Tom Hanks, but I can see Daniel Day Lewis.
Yeah.
He dropped out weeks before filming. Tom Cruise eventually got the role after Johnny Depp turned it down.
Ooh, Johnny could have done it too.
Yeah. And they talk about the screenplay. The movie says the screen credits read screenplay by Anne Rice based on her novel. But the script was actually heavily rewritten by director Neil Jordan. Writers Guild
Mm.
rules meant that Rice got credit. So,
Ah,
so she is maybe not as much a part of that writing as he was.
yeah.
Tom Cruise prepped for the role of Lestat by watching videos of lions attacking zebras in the wild. It's kind of weird.
I like that though. When I think about how he'd tear into somebody's neck on it, just
Yeah, he pounced on them. Three
hmm.
and a half hours every day in a makeup chair.
I I like how why you know what I mean? Like I've seen people put on full prosthetics for movies in that amount of time.
And then they made the actors hang upside down for 30 minutes while putting makeup on them so they could their blood would rush to their head and veins would kind of bulge out a little bit.
Yeah,
And they were
I can see
using
that.
that to trace the veins on them to give them a little more eerie look. Um, the role of Claudia that was played by Kirsten Dunst. Other girls that auditioned for the role but did not get it. Christina Ricci or Ricci. Has it Ricci or Richie?
Ricci, Ricci.
Christina Ricci. Dominique Swain, which I do not know. I don't think
I don't
I
know.
can't
That one
place her.
doesn't sound familiar.
Lily Sobieski. I know who that is. Julia Stiles, Aaron Moore, and Evan Rachel Wood. They all auditioned for the roles of Claudia. Interesting. I always like seeing the names of people that
Hmm.
auditioned and did not get it. 'Cause I always wonder if they could actually have made it work.
Yeah.
Couple of questions to toss at you
I
here.
don't. I
Chris,
don't like the idea of Christina Ricci doing it, but I think Dominique Swain might have could have. I just googled her. She's and you, the way that Kirsten Dunst looked too, like she was her and Armand were probably the two that looked the most like the book descriptions.
really?
Yeah, for sure. Armand especially. Like when I saw Antonio Banderas, like he looked like the dude, like what you imagine in your mind when you read the book.
That's what I
He
was
looked
about to
like that.
say. Yeah, I was about to say it's always fun when you're reading when you picture the character in your mind, what they look like to you, and
Hmm.
then when you see when they make a movie of it, and you see who the people they actually put, you're like, yeah, I could see that. And or
Hmm.
from now on, when you read the book, all you see is the person that you saw play the role in the movie at that point. Um, so how to word this? Let's see. Lewis is portrayed as a reluctant vampire, right?
Hmm.
Does his guilt and introspection make him more human than some of the mortals in the film?
If you're considering mortals in the film, I would say definitely, because the mortals in the film were pretty much a side note. You really didn't even get to deal with them a lot. And then, except for Christian Slater's character, maybe. But I would think that, on average, if you're looking at it as like a across society or whatever, yeah, because he was taking other people into account, even with this power that he had. Other people wouldn't. On average, you would think, and from what we've seen in society, that especially once someone has a certain amount of power, they stop paying attention to what's going on around them. They don't take other people into consideration. Where Louis does, he's like, we have to kill. We're living like this, and we have to kill and this and that, and we could find another way. Or even in the beginning, when the the plantation dwellers, so to speak, were scared of Lestat and him, and he's like, what do you expect? We're dining on empty plates and drinking empty glasses.
Hmm.
So I would think, yeah.
What about Lestat? Is he truly evil, or is he just a vampire embracing his true nature unapologetically?
Option B.
Option B.
Option B. I don't even have to think about that. If I just watch it, if I say, okay, so if I base that answer just on this movie, I'm gonna say that I couldn't say that's a bad way to put it. Truly evil. You know what I mean? I don't think anyone in the film is truly evil. Um, I would say that he would lean. I would say he's got some evil tendencies. I wouldn't go 100% with just embracing his nature, just based on the movie. I would say that he's got a little mean streak in him. He got a little bit of bad in him. But reading all the books and stuff, I would say yeah, because he's been through trying to save people and this and that, and then like you said, just he's just like it is what it is, and I'm gonna be what I'm gonna be. What do
Um,
you think?
when I first was watching it, from the beginning of it, to me, I would have leaned toward that he was just really truly evil because it's like he relished what he was doing and trying to
Hmm.
get the other guy to do the same. But the
Right.
more you watch it, the further you get into it, I think it's more the latter where he's just embracing what he's become, what he was made into,
Hmm.
and he's accepted what he's been made into, and this is how this is how he lives now. This is what he's supposed to be and what he does. And he's
Yeah,
not.
it's his
And once
nature.
again, as far as when it says unapologetically, yeah, I mean, this is what he is. He's how he lives. He's not going to apologize for it. Did this happen to him? He was made into
Mhm.
that way, and this is how he's lived for all these years. So I would think it leaned more toward the latter of the two. But yeah, if you're a person watching it for the first time or the first time in a long time, all the way through, like me, then at first he does come across as truly evil to you. But you kind of change your mind during, or I did anyway, during the process as the movie went on.
Yeah. Well, and you got to think too. So the stat was turned in 1794 by Magnus. So he's a little older than Louis too.
Right, right. Uh, the thought of immortality. If you were to ask people, especially someone like us who might watch Highlander quite often, right? We're into the
Hmm.
Highlander things, and they're immortal. They live and well in their case until someone takes their head. But
Right.
if you're if immortality is something that you're given, do you look at it as a blessing or a curse?
Just depends. I think it depends on where your head and heart end up.
Well,
I watch so many of them that get into, I'm tired of seeing everyone I love die. I'm tired of seeing everyone I love. But I mean, dude, you're immortal. You know what I mean? And then if you're a vampire, I mean, come on, you can turn them.
yeah.
But
Oh,
then if you think too, if you like Claudia, if you're stuck as a 12-year-old,
right. That's what I was about
you
to
know what I
bring up.
mean? That might
Yeah.
be kind of rough.
Yeah, you're stuck in a
Might be.
child's body the rest of your life. I mean, and now, what I mean, there and I believe it was stated in the movie that I don't want to say the word rules, like there were rules, but I think there were ways you did things
There
and
were.
some.
Remember, that's why Claudia and the woman that she turned, that's why they burned them, because they were abominations. They went in front of the council when they went out to Armand, because they told them this is why we don't turn children.
Yeah,
Like we don't turn children, because then their brains get stuck too. Even though you can go hundreds of years, um, and this is pretty common theme throughout a lot of vampiric lore. Uh, your emotions, you still hold on to some of that childhood or childlike emotions. So your emotions are much, much stronger. And then whether of course, you're going to age and gain knowledge and this and that, but now you know what I mean? It's like a question of the development of your brain and other things, your body. Yeah, in that instance, it would be I would think it would be a curse.
I agree.
20s, 30s,
I
40s,
mean,
50s, let's do it.
I don't want to be stuck in the 50s, man. I'm 52 now. When I wake up, I hurt. I don't want to be waking up for an eternity hurting every morning. So
Oh, you don't. It takes all that away, remember?
I'm just saying, what if it don't? What if it don't take it all away?
Yeah, we got
Yeah,
we
I
got
mean,
beard dye and everything. We can look younger.
that's right. Well, I don't know. I can't grow hair back though. I mean,
Yeah, you're stuck with the hairstyle you die with.
ah, man,
Yeah, that's
that suck. That suck. I'm already stuck with it now anyway. So, uh, how did the film's costume and production design, in your opinion, uh, kind of influence future vampire and gothic films? Did it really set the pace or set the tone, in your opinion, for vampire films even at the time? I mean, to me,
I don't think so.
when I watched it, they were pretty much accurate for their time frame. I think like if
Yeah.
it's back in the 1700s or the 1800s, the type of stuff they're wearing and everything, obviously for the costumes and the design and everything was kind of spot on. But I mean, I don't know how you can really ask the question, and I'm just going off questions that I had produced earlier for us, obviously. uh,
Mhm.
I don't really know how you can ask that question. Did it influence future vampire and gothic films? Because vampires films are going to be different. When is the vampire film set? You know,
Yeah.
Take, for example, John Carpenter's Vampires. We mentioned it earlier, set in a different time frame and era and everything. Nothing
Mhm,
like Interview with a Vampire. But
mhm.
if you were to look at
And
Bram Stoker's Dracula and Interview with a Vampire, there's a lot of
yeah,
similarities in the styles.
that's what I was going to say for sure. So you're looking at the time period. So I would say that that's a no. And John Carpenter's Vampires, the main character or the head character in it was James Woods, who I was talking about earlier.
James Woods.
Or James Wood.
James
Wood.
Wood. You were, what were you saying about him earlier?
I get him. I used to get him and Jeffrey Rush mixed up.
Oh, that's no. Earlier, just okay. I'm laughing now inside. Earlier, I was thinking, did he just mess that up? And you did. You're gonna go back and watch
James
this or
Woods.
listen. You're
What?
gonna go back and you said Ed Wood.
Oh God, that's a
Ed Wood is a
movie.
movie.
That's a Johnny Depp movie,
And
actually,
I
isn't it?
was and you were like, so and so and
I
Ed
meant
Wood.
James Woods.
And I'm like, you get okay, you get the character or something mixed up with.
That's funny. I didn't
Yeah,
even know. I didn't even realize I said that.
you're gonna go
Hey,
back
hey,
now and take
hey,
a listen. You're gonna laugh at yourself now.
idiot.
Um, oh my god, no clear heroes in this story at all. But does this make the film more realistic to you or more difficult to connect with?
I would say more realistic because I mean, if you're a vampire,
You're not going to be
you're a
heroic.
vampire.
Yeah, you're a
Yeah, not
vampire.
always.
Come on,
You can try to do some good stuff, but you're a vampire. Nobody wants a
right?
heroic vampire unless it's Blade,
This is Blade. He's that Daywalker.
the Daywalker.
Oh my god. I mentioned earlier Brad Pitt hated filming that movie. It's another little tidbit I just got picked up on here. That said he even tried to buy out his contract, and I
And
guess
then he said it was like
he
40 million.
heard and it cost him about 40 million, so he toughed it out.
Yeah.
Oh my
Heck
gosh.
yeah.
Um, what else
Yeah.
we got
Too,
here? The
too
film
late.
was
Too late.
nominated for 2 Academy Awards: Best Art Direction and Best Original Score.
Hmm.
Tom Cruise, I told you we were staying in character for the whole time. Uh, role of Claudia was extremely controversial due to the mature themes. Dunst later said she didn't fully grasp the adult nature of her scenes at the time. It's pretty much a given. So, what I would like to do now, this at this point though, for the people who are listening or watching this video, whichever you may be doing, we want to hear from you. If you were turned into a vampire at any age and stuck that way forever, what age would you want to be and why? Send us a message on
Mm.
Instagram at RetroLife for you or email at retrolifeforyou@gmail.com. Um, or you can comment on the episode post on, YouTube where it's up here thing as well. So never know. If you put something up there, might feature your answers in the next episode and give a few shout outs there. So
Oh, girl.
be kind of interesting to hear people's outlook on that. Any last thoughts about the movie, Travis?
Well, nothing other than to reiterate what I said. I mean, we dogged on it a little bit. We try not to really say any movies are trash. We try to find the good in them, and the positive. We are honest and tell you like you might want to skip this one,
I
but
think
I really do. I truly.
There's one movie we trashed.
Which one?
I think it was that Valentine's Day movie that we thought was Valentine's Day and really wasn't.
Oh yeah, we did
No, no,
trash that
no,
one
no, no,
pretty
no,
bad.
no, 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 not Valentine's Day. Thanksgiving. We thought it was a Thanksgiving movie
Yeah,
and it really
Thanksgiving
wasn't.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah, it was a
trashed that
murder
one.
mystery movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
we
wasn't very
trashed
good.
that one hard.
I would say with this one, I mean, like I said, you're either gonna like it or not dig it. Um, I would I would say watch the trailer, and you know what I mean. If you dig vampire movies, you'll probably dig it. If you're a diehard vampire movie fan, you'll probably like it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I would go as far as just to recommend to watch the movie. Like I said, it's the first time I watched it all the way through since it came out. It never really interested me at the time when it came out, but I thought, maybe I missed out on something. So I did take the time to watch it all the way through, and I think it's worth a watch all the way through at least once.
Hmm.
Uh, if anything, just to see how good the acting, was in it by all three of the main people there, in Tom Cruise and um, Brad Pitt and Kirsten Dunst. I thought they all three did great jobs for the characters and all.
For sure.
So,
And like I
uh,
said too, I used to love it. The reason why I feel like I do now, maybe because I've seen it so many times and I know it inside and out.
and I'm not going to end the show on a joke this week, but do you have any vampire jokes you want to lay out there since we did a vampire movie?
Not any good ones. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
like there's just not any really good vampire jokes.
I feel like you're leading up to something with this.
No, no, seriously.
Oh,
Like
oh,
just
you look like you were laying some track for a second there. I'm just seeing.
oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. I
was
mean,
waiting to
there's
see if the train was coming through or not.
the best thing I could come up with is which vampire raps about his enemies.
uh, who?
Distracula.
Okay, well, interview with the
It's like the
vampire
best
may not.
best one they got, man.
inter, interview with the vampire may not be a traditional horror flick with jump scares, but it's a poetic, philosophical, and disturbing meditation on existence, morality, and the dark beauty of the night. That's well written by somebody, not me. Whether
Hey,
your
hey,
team
I do have
Lestat,
one thing. I do have one thing to add.
what?
Read if you're a reader, read the books. If you're an Audible listener, get your audiobooks. The novels, especially once you get into them and get the novels are amazing. Just
I mean,
flat
that's
out
usually the
amazing.
same with everything, though, isn't it? The books are always better than a movie,
Most of the time, yeah.
more detailed and everything. So I would think. Anyway, all right. Well, whether you're Team Lestat or if you're Team Louis, it's a film that stays with you like a bite on the neck you never saw coming. Don't forget to rate, review, and follow the show. If you love retro movie content, share us with your fellow film freaks. And until next time, stay retro and stay out of the shadows.
Mm.